Another marvelous Monday to all our viewers and listeners around the globe in the various time zones. So I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Saying happy Independence 40th celebration anniversary to the people of St. Kitts, Nevis, within and out, wherever you are throughout the diaspora. Also the friends and well-wishers of our federation. Want to take a special moment to say thank you to the Taiwanese. They have been with us for the past 40 years. As a matter of fact, we were the first in the region to establish diplomatic relations with Taiwan. And they've been here with us. So as we... Yeah, okay, beautiful. So as we pause to celebrate, we're grateful for all those folks who've been friends and well-wishers of the Federation. I want to say good morning to Rosemary up there in New York, Jennifer Richards in Atlanta, Amber over there in Anguilla, Petro up there in Guyana from Antigua, and all the many viewers and wishers of the program. My name is Socrates, host of today's program, and we have a very, very special guest with us this morning. But here's what we're going to do first. We're going to go downtown and give Caesar his due, and then we will be right back.
Sign up for internet and get 1 month free, plus a chance to pay $0 for the rest of the year. Plus, get a chance to win free data, gas vouchers, $500 cash weekly, grocery vouchers, Fed tickets, and more.
Switch over to Flow.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
We're back. Another episode of Voices. We're locked and loaded, ready to go. It's the 18th day of September. On the eve of our Independence anniversary, the 19th day of September. That was some 40 years ago. So we are gearing up for the grand finale, starting later tonight, and then, after midnight, all breaks loose. So it's going to be a wonderful thing experiencing celebrating our 40th Independence anniversary. And guess what? I hinted to a little treat early before the break. We have with, by the way, let me say good morning to the engineer, Mr. Jamster. Can't be done without you. All right? So with us in the studio this morning is a very celebrated, very accomplished and celebrated lady, wearing many hats, one being the host of Let's Talk Show, which is a community-based radio program in Chalk Hill, that's northwest London. Today she joins us on Voices. So I want to give her a hearty welcome. Do you have a drum roll? And welcome to the studios, Miss Patricia Super Blaze Wharton. And of course, she's accompanied by her handsome son. And I have a question for you, though. You can take your time and answer it.
Indeed.
Why are you not in Parliament?
Well, I think, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for hosting me on your show. This is a real great opportunity, and we'll speak much more about that. Why am I not in Parliament?
As yet, yeah.
As yet. To be honest, I almost was in Parliament in the UK. I've been called several times and even asked publicly to stand as a politician for the Labour Party. The reason I'm not into politics is that I feel that although in the beginning my idea was to go in and to make changes for people in the UK from the African Caribbean diaspora, I thought I'd go in there and make some really great changes. I realised that, of course, I wouldn't have full autonomy to kind of say what I really felt from a ground level. So I decided that I would remain outside of being a councillor or a politician. Some may say I do the same sorts of roles or works that the politician does, but I'm just not assigned to any party other than my own party.
Okay. And with that introductions, I'm going to have you speak to our listeners and viewers, and you've made a linkage with with the program back home.
Sure.
So we have a wider listenership, thanks to you. So now, let's get your claim to fame.
Okay. So where would you like me to start? Would you like me to start at the beginning, the middle?
With the
I'm
who.
here.
The who.
With the who. Who? Okay, so who am I? So I am, as Socrates introduced in the beginning, Patricia Wharton. In the UK, though, I'm affectionately known as Blaze, which is my broadcast name. DJ Blaze. Some people refer to me as DJ Blaze. I'd say that I'm more of a broadcaster in terms of more of a presenter, and that music isn't the first thing that I would go to in terms of describing what I do. But of course, my show, because I love music so much, my show also consists of music, without a shadow of a doubt. So I co-manage the Chalk Hill Community Radio Station, which is a local radio station in northwest London. I've probably done that for about 6 years, I think, now. And I'm also the co-host of the Let's Talk Show Live, which is, I have to say, what's so interesting about today is that you, Socrates, were actually my first live interviewee back in...
I wasn't going to say that.
2019, do you remember?
I recall, definitely.
Yeah, you were the first. So I had been doing radio, but I hadn't had any live guests. And then you and I met at the Calypso tent in Tabernacle, which is in West London. And I thought, wow, what a great opportunity. And so I invited you to be the first guest, live guest of that show, which has now been running from probably before 2019. But since you came on, there's been a guest every week. So thank you very much for kickstarting that.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, so thank you. So it's a you were a trailblazer for that, torchbearer, the first of. And you can only be the first once, so you were the first of. And that show has continued to run now on a weekly basis every Saturday from 11 till 1 p.m. And it consists of a number of guests who are given an opportunity. Interest in your show is called Voices. Mine's Let's Talk. So it's the same kind of thing. It's given a voice to those who perhaps otherwise wouldn't have a voice to showcase whatever it is about their life that's important. So whether it's, you're an author, a singer, an artist, someone who's young entrepreneurs.
I've seen you do a lot of exposure for those folks who actually need a platform. So I follow your work, and of course, I'm always in awe of you.
Oh,
thank you. Got the same name, Blaze? You're like a trailblazer also?
I like that. It's a lot of links here. That's good. I like what you did. I see what you did with that there. Yeah, so thank you for following me. So I guess what happened is the radio show then kind of widened out to not just being in the studio, but to being out in the community. So what you will probably see is lots of stuff that's posted on Facebook and Instagram, on social media. where I now take the show out of the studio and into the community.
So you don't go live?
I still go live.
Okay.
So I still go live every Saturday. But in addition to that, I go live with camera.
On the street.
And yeah, sort of out on the street. I host events. I host a number of events. So I take it to anywhere that I'm, even outside of London now. I do some work outside of London. So it is absolutely growing legs.
Okay. We're going to keep the phone lines closed for a while because we want to get more of Blaze. I'm going to ask you some questions. First off, you have a handsome hunk here with you.
I have
from
a handsome
ITB?
son. That happens to be the second of my 2 children. It's Kai. And we're on a family holiday. But and I'll give some shouts out when you say that's okay. But what's important for Kai is that it's not his first time here. But although I reside in the UK, this is my home. This is my heritage. My parents, both my parents, from here, right here in St. Kitts.
I got a question for Kai. Would you get the microphone close to you, sir? No, that one. Yeah. Is it on? Okay. You have a very famous uncle. And had it not been for the prejudice of former West Indies selectors, he would have been on the West Indies cricket team. Do you know him? you heard of him?
I think I'm a bit unfamiliar, but Mum can probably help me.
I'm going to have to help Kai with that because when Socrates is referring to my brother, who Kai hasn't met.
Okay.
And so we were hoping that Kai would meet him here this time round. But unfortunately, he happens to be in St. Thomas, and so we didn't plan that.
This is my way of linking.
Yeah, we didn't.
Creating a linkage to who you are as to St. Kitts because you have
Yeah.
a famous person in your family, your brother,
My
his
brother.
uncle. What's his name?
Livingston Harris, but also known as X-Man. So Livingston Harris is a cricketer and a very famous cricketer, not just a cricketer. And when he came to the UK, first of all, Kai wasn't born. And then each time we've been back, unfortunately, he's been elsewhere.
Yeah,
So
I'm familiar with who he is, but I haven't
But
yet
in
met.
person.
I haven't, yeah.
Hasn't.
met him.
He's, if I'm correct, he is the first runner-up. He was adjudged the first runner-up in the USVI Calypso competition held in April this year. The winner is King Richie Bunting, also from St. Kitts. So we had 2 nationals of St. Kitts Nevis who placed in the top 2 positions. And I'm happy to say that X-Man, Livingston Harris, was the judge. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, he came to St. Kitts to sing in my Calypso tent, but something didn't work out. He had to go back. So
yeah,
so you have famous people, not only mom, you have a very famous uncle.
he's a very famous
Right.
uncle.
Yeah, that's all
So
right.
you've been here before.
Yeah, this is my second time here.
It's a family vacation.
Yeah.
What's your impression about St. Kitts so far, based on what you've
Relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
High heels. High heels. It's
High
relaxing.
heels.
Yeah. You know, London's
Are you,
very...
are you talking about Timothy Hill?
All of them. London's flat and city's built up. So for me, obviously, it's a little bit different. But I'm familiar with the Caribbean anyway, so it's kind of like something that I'm used to seeing or expected to see, shall I say? And then I'll probably say slow pace. In London, everything's a little bit fast paced. Everything's done kind of quick, and yeah, hot, obviously.
I was going to ask about the weather temperatures. King Calypso Crusoe called me last week and he said it was the hottest summer you've had in the UK for a very, very long time.
Interestingly, kind of they were talking of the fact that summer was short and gone, and then the last week we've had some serious temperatures. But I think that there's a difference though. Even though it's hot in the UK, the heat is different when we're here in the Caribbean, and so the fondest thing for me is when the plane door opens, when it lands.
And that warm.
That warmth, you cannot replicate that anywhere for me. And so even in the UK, we'll say that it's hot, but it's a different kind of hot, I've got to say. There's no hot
This
like
one
home
is
hot.
sweltering.
Yeah, man, there's no hot
It's
like home hot.
suffocating.
But it's for us, it's beautiful.
Even though there's a breeze. So we have to accept that globally the weather patterns are changing and it's getting a bit hotter, so we have to live with it, as I would say, grin and bear it.
Yeah, I've noticed that this time around it is seriously hot. I mean, for us, when we came out this morning for breakfast at about 7, 8 o'clock, it was midday heat. At that time, 7 in the morning.
Okay.
So so it's good. It's good for us.
Okay, so you talk to your folks back home?
Yeah, I do. First of all, of course, I have to send a shout out to everybody at the Chalk Hill Community Radio Station.
And it's coming from WINNFM 98.9.
WINNFM 98.9. So WINNFM.com, I've sent the link. Everybody should be tuned in. I guess I have to say good evening, because out there it must be evening. But guys, I want to say I'm having an absolutely fabulous time out here in the sunny islands of St. Kitts and Nevis. So big shouts out to everybody in the UK that's got the link and tuned in. Obviously, I can't call all your names. But what I do want to do also is send a shout out to some people from the UK that are here on holiday, to Ethne and Sonia and everybody from the Scanler organisation, which is the St. Kitts and Nevis London Association.
Okay.
And there's about 30, I think, of them. They're here in the UK. And what they do is they do their best to kind of replicate and keep St. Kitts alive in London. So they do lots of events to promote the culture of St. Kitts, and I think they do a very, very good job, so I want to send shouts out to them. But we're here to celebrate my niece's birthday, which happens to be on Independence Day, the 19th. Tomorrow, so big shouts.
So where's the party?
Well, I don't know. I think, where are we going to be, actually, Kai? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be just chilling or going round the island, but we're going to be doing something to celebrate Surem's birthday. So happy birthday to Surem. Yesterday was my brother-in-law Rudy's birthday. So big shouts out to him.
Is he also?
He's here.
Okay.
We had cake and some drink and ran some jokes and sat around the poolside. So we did that yesterday. So that was fantastic. To my sister Anita, Kai, of course, who's with me. To Saint, to Shez and Naomi. It's all of their first times here in St. Kitts. So
okay.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they're having a great experience. To my sister Celia and Al, who are here also, resides. A part of their life is spent here and the other part is in the UK. So a shame that X-Man's not here, but big shouts out to him and to my sister Rubilette, who resides here. Big shouts going out to her. And Bev Williams, big shout. Bev said, don't forget to give me a shout out. So Bev, good morning. I've given you a shout out also.
Is Bev here or back?
Bev lives here, but yeah, I knew her from the UK, so Bev resides here. And to my nieces, Ardis and Nostalgia, they are also here with their mum, Rubilette.
Okay. We're going to take a pause now and say thank you to our sponsors. We take it downtown. Mr. Jamster, take it away.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste.
Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Yes?
Jean!
Boy, this place hot, boy. I can't take it.
Well, it's a good thing I called. The TDC Home and Building Depots are having their Cool 'em Down sale, and you're sure to get 25% discount on fans, AC units, coolers, fridges, and more to beat this heat.
Girl, Betty, you're making joke.
No, girl. Stop sweating and let's go to the store now.
Come pick me up, because may want to miss the sale at TDC Home and Building Depot.
Cool. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Are you ready for the summer? Need a plan like no other. Stay connected when you're on the go.
Sign up for internet and get 1 month free, plus a chance to pay $0 for the rest of the year. Plus, get a chance to win free data, gas vouchers, $500 cash weekly, grocery vouchers, Fed tickets, and more.
Switch over to Flow. Are you ready for the summer?
Sugar no. Sugar no. Yes, my home have a little bit of everything. Sun, sand, and mountains. I cannot believe this. Oh, my home, St. Kitts and Nevis. I can never leave this.
Okay, welcome back to our viewers and listeners. Of course, you're logged on to Voices. Today is Monday, the 18th day of September. Tomorrow is the 19th day, the actual anniversary date for celebrating a 40th anniversary. Over the weekend, quite a few persons contacted me and they sort of express regrets not being able to get in the program. They tried calling to give their opinion, etc., etc. So I promised them on Monday I'm going to open the lines as early as possible. So we're going to open the lines right about now for those who are in tune and want to call and speak about the issues that you were concerned about, our independence celebration. Those who want to call and say congratulations or reach out to persons. You have the chance now, 662-0989, 762-0989, 662-0989. And we have, of course, in the studio, a very celebrated and famous person, Pat Super Blaze Wharton. And she's home from the UK for a family event, celebrating her sister's birthday. Her son is here with her. I met her backstage some years ago at, it was at the Tabernacle. It was on the night of the Calypso competition. The British Calypsonian, what do you call it again?
I'm not sure. I know it was a
ABC.
Okay.
ABC, the Association of British Calypsonians. I think I was a guest performer there that night. And
were you one of the judges as well?
Yes.
Were you one of the judges?
I was one of the judges. Yeah. We went backstage, and you met quite a few of the persons backstage and all that.
I did. That was really great because that was my first experience of the Calypso tent. I'd heard about it, never been. So it was a really great experience, and it was even more fantastic because I then got to go backstage and have a conversation with yourself and some of the other Calypsonians there. So that was a really great experience for me. I really enjoyed that.
And then we found out something about each other.
What was what? Sorry.
We found out something about each other.
Yeah, so what do you mean, the common thing?
Yeah.
The common thing, I think this is the same thing. I don't know if there's something, I don't know, because I don't sing, so it can't be that. The common thing is that our birthdays are on the same day.
Same date.
Our birthdays are on the same day. That was kind of a wow factor. That was, our birthdays are the same.
We take it to the phone lines. Good morning, call your 11 Voices.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, so welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning, the King, and good morning to your guests. Welcome to our should
Just call it Blaze. Blaze, yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, the King.
Sir.
Let me say happy independence to all in the Federation and those listening via the internet.
Definitely.
I want to make sure I put that in because I know people might say, oh, well, it's independence and here he go with his African talk. Well, I am African, so with your permission, I would like to bring something to the fore.
You may.
And with your guest stating that she is a radio broadcaster in the UK, I find it quite fitting to air.
She's also very Afrocentric.
Good. Now, this is Africa's time, in my opinion, the King. Our reality is at play. And I'm referring to all that is happening on the continent of Africa within the Francophone countries where we have had those last coups. Those last, let me quote, bloodless coup that has been supported by the people. Let me repeat this. Bloodless coups that have been supported by the people in their spaces. Now, for me, the King, what I'm taking from this is that our common enemy divided us, and it has worked for them. You have heard me say this. I've been repetitive with this. They divided us, and it has worked for them. This unity that is happening on those Francophone countries where they are kicking out France, that's the unity that we need to support on a global scale. Africa first, then we invite the rest of the world to the table because we know that they cannot do without Africa. Now, I am paying close attention to some public figure like Ursula Van der Leyen, I think. She's French. Now, she was at the summit in Kenya. I'm paying attention to people like Joseph Borrell, who have changed his rhetoric from what he said a month ago. Europe is a garden, the rest of the world is a jungle. And I'm paying attention to Emmanuel Macron and even the president that keeps falling up the step going on to his private jet. These are signs, and we need to take their words seriously. Because again, I want us to know that everything coming from Europe, America, Canada, NATO, all of them, is skewed against us, the Africans. Make no mistake about that. Because if you look at the footprints of NATO and those who are behind NATO, they create chaos. Now, I want to talk quickly on something, the King, about jihadist groups that are on the African continent, Boko Haram and others. Even what's the Russian group name? Wagner Group.
Wagner, yeah. Wagner.
No. If you go deep, the King, you would know that Boko Haram and the jihadist groups, they were implemented by outside forces. Many of us don't know this. Many of us don't know that outside forces, France in particular, who have orchestrated these Boko Haram and jihadist group. Why? Because of the resources. Because when they plant that narrative and create, what we also need to take into account, the King, is that the media is controlled by them. And this is one of the, I sometimes want to be apprehensive about saying, but I'm going to say it anyhow. I don't really look at BBC, Fox, and CNN because I get my source from the African news platforms. They create these scenarios, they create chaos to distract us. And then they feed us with their narrative and we need to look beyond it. We know what is at stake. They know what is at stake. I mean, the King, if you look at the behavior of Emmanuel Macron right now, saying things that he's not going to honor or respect the coup unless it comes from, what's the president name?
Bazoum.
Now, I can understand why he's saying that. But the people are demonstrating that they want France out of their space.
What he's saying,
where do we come in?
What he has said
false...
is that France cannot handle their own problems and they need them. He's basically saying that.
No, the King, that might have been so with the older generation. If you look at these youths now, well, the future is the youth. And like Abraham Theory said, his generation is asking him, how could Burkina Faso be so rich, but yet
support
85% of Burkina is out of electricity. And look at this again, the King. While France is getting the uranium out of those countries, France is paying 80 cents per kilo.
Was.
And sells for
was. They've changed the rates. They've increased the rates. So it's no longer 80-something cents.
All right. Well, you see, now, all that been going on for decades, the King. And the people
it's changed now. It's now changed.
Sorry?
It's now changed. They're taking control of the resources.
Well, you see, that's what I'm talking about, the King, and we need to let our voices be heard and stop saying that we don't have any resources because the resources on the continent is yours and mine. It is your future generations. We were taken. We didn't get up and come here by ourselves.
Okay. I got you.
All right, man. I'll call the King if the
much appreciated. All right. Thank you for your contribution. And, of course, you're consistent with the messaging. So there are those who don't like to hear it, but that's what it is. Do we have this call? Okay. Blaze, you're at Cahill. You're in charge. You're on the station. Go ahead.
I'm in charge.
Yeah, until we get calls, we're going to let it flow. The lines are open. People want to call, make the contribution.
So I think that was a really interesting contribution from your first caller. It's interesting that he talks about who's in control of the media. And in the UK, we refer to mainstream TV, and your caller made reference to kind of some of the news channels that he doesn't listen to. And so we refer to the mainstream TV as the BBC, ITV, etc. And my thing really has been about no longer trying to get on the mainstream, but really trying to get on our own stream. He mentioned also about having our voices heard. And it's how do we get our voices heard so that our voices are authentic? Because when someone else is telling our story, they tell it in a different way. They don't tell it in the same way that we would in terms of emotion. He also made reference to the fact that we didn't come here. You know, we didn't just come here, we were brought here. And you and I were having that conversation on the way to the studio. We very much feel the same in the UK. Currently in the UK, they refer to a cohort of residents as the Windrush.
You got a call.
We've got a call coming through. Okay, thank you.
Got a call, 11 Voices. Okay, got a call.
Hello.
Hanks, how are we doing? Happy Independence.
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes, sir.
20 years now.
Yes.
I was on my championship belt. And I want it back.
You want it back?
I challenged the guy telling me I can't walk. I say, he may have to walk to box.
You don't have to walk to be able to box.
No, I don't have to.
Okay.
All I have to do when the bell rings, I come out of my corner and face my opponent with 2 goals on my hand. And I will be standing. The guy just run around until somebody beat him up bad in St. Thomas. Make me feel shame again. They beat him up bad in Gualo, make me feel that. And then we lose this fight, you know, people saying he beat him.
And got beaten.
Eh? Hello?
He beat Hanks and got beaten badly, so it makes you look bad. Tell me something. How's the independence celebration coming? Anything happened for you?
No, I just home, just sit in my region, watching on the outside.
All right, I might pass by you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Stop by tomorrow. We're going to have a drink or two, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Much appreciated. Thank you for your contribution. Back to the phone lines? Okay. Blaze, you were saying?
Yeah, I do say I love that last call. That reminds me of my late father.
Let me interrupt and tell you who he is. He is a former boxing champion. He's now confined to a wheelchair. He lives in Connery, but he's known as the Fighting Hunks. He represented us on many platforms across the globe.
Yeah, I found that moving.
This nostalgia in his voice.
Yeah.
Somebody want to challenge him. He said you don't have to be able to walk to box.
I loved that, and I think my son Kai would relate to that, who also does boxing. But my late father, who was from here, was actually a professional boxer. So that would sound like something that my dad would say. So I found that cool.
Would that be a name that we'd recognize?
But he was referred to as a smiling kid.
Smiling kid.
Smiling kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't remember that. I mean, there was a kid French. There was a kid somebody, and there was the boxers them from yesterday. And you don't have any hair, same as me, so we don't. Easy Boy Ken was my cousin. Actually, it was Easy Boy Ken, Chicken, yes. Easy Boy Ken actually trained Hunks, who turned around and defeated him. That was a big, it happens. It happens. But we called a kid French, and there was another name of a chap up, But it's good that you mentioned that, because you say your son now is of...
My son does boxing, and also I'm sending shouts out to my first son, Xavier, and his son, Amari, who they do boxing. So, Kai, I don't know what that was like for you, but we kind of really connected with that. I'd love to meet him. We connected with that. Yeah, that was... I don't know what that felt like for you, Kai, but that was good. I liked that.
No, it was good still. It was good.
All right, so you're sure.
So we were saying that the first caller made reference to us not just being here, and that we were brought here, and you and I were talking about on the way down some of the origins would have been from West Africa, which I can relate to, and that many people in the UK, especially those from West Africa, refer to me as having Ghanaian features. And so that makes sense. And that in the UK, we're currently celebrating a cohort of residents who were referred to as the Windrush generation. I don't know whether in the Caribbean they know anything about that, but that's...
We're off with it. I was actually there when they had the first ceremony.
Ah, okay.
And I met the gentleman. I'm on his mailing list. So I get all the updated information. But I met them. I took some pictures when they had that. I don't remember where it was. It was close to a river or...
I wonder if it was... I don't know if it was Nubian Jack, but basically in the UK, for those people that aren't familiar, we're celebrating 75 years of what's referred to as the Windrush generation.
Yep.
Now, Windrush was a boat or a ship that brought lots of people from the Caribbean to the UK in I think it's 1948, and docked in Tilbury Docks in London. And those that came changed and shaped the way that the UK is today. But I just want to say, though, although that particular reference is made to that boat, there are several people that came on different boats and at different times. But that is quite a significant boat that people refer to, or ship rather, it's not a boat, it's a ship, and the Windrush ship. And so we celebrate the contributions of people from the Caribbean, including my father and other family members that left St. Kitts to work in St. Kitts, Jamaica, docked in a number of places. And they came to work in the NHS, National Health Service, which is also celebrating 75 years.
Railway?
The railway.
Rail?
Yeah, it's a British Rail. But just almost every industry that you can think of, we contributed and made a difference. And so I say that, but I understand the angst in the voice of the first caller that although we have really shaped Britain, I don't refer to myself as British. I'm African first of parents of the Caribbean, but born in the UK. We've made some great changes. You got another call coming through?
Okay, we take this call. Call 11 Voices.
Good morning, the King.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
And good morning to the lady there.
Good morning to you also.
Thank you for your information.
You're very welcome.
Whatever. Now, I thought I want to wish all the Federation and St. Kitts and Nevis and all those nationals in the diaspora, wish them a happy, blessed independence. After 40 years of independence, we went through the struggle, and we know in 40 years of independence, and I now believe that the culture, our politics should change. You understand?
I'm hearing
because
you.
This culture of politics ain't taking us nowhere at all. It's time we get real. And I want to thank those slave masters who brought us here, who brought our foreparents here.
Say again?
I want to thank the slave masters them who brought our foreparents here, because they brought us from a good piece of soil, a natural piece of soil.
So where we left was bad?
Eh?
Are you saying that where we left by comparison was bad?
Well, I didn't know about that, but they brought us from a piece of good soil, natural resources and everything. The seawater, we close to the seawater, we close to the mountain, we got the natural trees.
There is no other place on earth that has more natural resources than Africa. None.
But Socrates, I know that. But still that. We done here. We done here now. We done here. We can't forgive that. We can't forgive before parents. We got to forgive before parents that what happened to them. You know, to be here. And when we're done here, and we put a fertile piece of soil, and this fertile piece of soil we earn, if our politicians and our leaders was listening us, and taking example from different countries, I do not believe the politics and everything will be how it be. I believe that we'll be a better country and more upgrade and everything. You understand? We know that we ain't got the natural resources like Africa, but thank God we still reach on a piece of soil that no earthquake, no tornado. We don't know one of these days what's going to happen. But you see up in the country, how much people die from earthquake and all those things. Rain coming, washing away, millions, thousands of people going in one flood, and all these things. So we still got to thank the Father that we find a great piece of soil. We don't have a crop yet. People don't live over 100 years here, and they don't experience nothing. What happened different in Africa and other parts of the world. So we still, that is why I want to thank for the King.
I hear you.
All right then.
Yeah, have a nice one. Enjoy the rest of the independence celebration. Any of the callers? Okay. All right. One of the things that I just was inspired by you telling the story of the Windrush. And our listenership is vast, and there are people around the world currently who don't know about that. I actually sang a song at the Tabernacle. It's called Our Contribution. It was about the Windrush. And the following year, when the Admiral had a song about the Windrush,
Oh, yes, of course.
I
Shouts out to
encouraged
Admiral.
him to sing it. And I said to him, mind, I shouldn't tell you this, but because I'm a judge. And he sang it, and everybody in the house declared him the winner. They were happy for him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take this caller.
Let's
Caller,
come
you're
back to
live
that.
on Voices. Go to caller, you're live on Voices. You're live on Voices. Are you there? Hello. Are you there? Okay, the caller should be having some difficulties, so if you may, in the meantime.
So big shouts out to Admiral. I absolutely adore him and had the great pleasure of hosting his Calypso tent. But that song actually did very, very well. It was a great song. And so big shouts out to him, and thank you for that reminder. Because actually, to be honest, I didn't really fully understand the difference. I think you might remember this. I didn't understand the difference between soca and calypso. I just thought there was a slightly different genre, but I didn't really fully understand the level of politics that was
history
calypso.
And the origin of calypso is really from West Africa.
Yeah.
Rebirthed in Trinidad. And the griots, the oral historians in West Africa, if we compare them to, well, not really modern day calypsonians now, but in the latter day, they were the same. They chronicled all the social developments. They were qualified musicians. They were troubadours. They chronicled birth, death, marriage, everything. And so when our journey was interrupted and we were brought to the islands as enslaved people, we used that means of communication because drums were banned.
Sure.
We used the drum to send a message. They were banned. Any form of known communications were banned. But because we were allowed to sing during the time we were working, we used the songs to send codes.
For sure.
The messages from plantation to plantation. So that was the rebirth of Calypso. And when we had a chance to celebrate like after emancipation, we used Calypso. It was anti-establishment. But that's how we communicated. And people came out on ceremonies to what was called a Calypso tent. It was a bamboo shack to hear the latest social development. And we couched the songs with humor and different things. So you had the double entendre. You had to be able to sing a code, the double entendre, so that your president didn't know what you were saying. So that was the essence of Calypso. Later on, it became commercialized. How you feeling? Hot, wave your hand. So people forgot the essence of the message. And when I sang a song called 2034, which is just about 11 years from now, we'll be celebrating the 200th anniversary of our emancipation. I was questioning what would Carnival look like then? Super commercialized with no resemblance of what caused it to be that way, our celebration of emancipation.
I think what was wonderful about that was that I already liked Calypso anyway, but it was more about something that, like you said, that you listened to. It was something that I grew up with, so it was familiar. But when I fully got to kind of understand the origins of it and what it really meant and what people were actually really writing and composing and singing about, I was completely blown away. And so then I had a new love for something that I already had a love for. And I had a different appreciation for those that were, A, writing the lyrics, and B, that were kind of brave enough to say, well, this is my thoughts, and I'm putting it out in song, because we can have these political arguments at home and inside. And I think your last caller, there was, some areas of that I found quite challenging to listen to, about gratitude for a time that,
That's not what he was trying to say.
Yeah, I get it.
We're in a space today that he actually want to celebrate.
Yeah.
But the process is not.
Yeah. So around the gratitude, because we're talking about legacy. And one of the most profound things I heard someone say recently, we talk about legacy. But what that person said was that legacy isn't just something you write about, you talk about. It's actually something that you feel. So when there are certain words that are triggers for me, and we'll have heard some of that today, because legacy is something that you feel. So whilst I wasn't on the Windrush ship, I feel it through my parents who came over. And I feel their journey, their struggle. I feel it for every person that contributed to the NHS, to the transport in the UK.
Okay, let's take this call, but I wanted to discuss something with you about that. Is the call still there? Okay, one of the great writers. Let's take the call. I'll get back to that caller. Good day, you're live on Voices.
Yeah, quickly, the king.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Politics is saying some things, and, you know...
I could have dealt with that, you know. I could have dealt with that, but I let him. I could have dealt with what he was saying, but I just let him talk, and you know, went over the program.
Yeah, quickly, the king. I have to choose my words carefully in response to what he's saying. Now, we all gravitate to what was given to us in the book. I'm referring to, you know, when he's saying that he wants to give God thanks for we were brought here by our enslavers. Now, everything in the book, The King, was written by those who committed the crime against us. Let me repeat that. The book was written by those who committed the crime against us, and they gave us their mythology and their concept of God. And we swallowed it wholesale. And this is why I'm saying I have to choose my words carefully when it comes to Mr. Politics, because I was in that space as well. Maybe others was there too. Now, there's a global awakening that is happening today, the king. When I say today, in this day and age, there's a global awakening. And that is why what is taking place on the continent. You might ask yourself the question, why it didn't happen like 3 decades ago? Now, we have a saying, say, God is in control and God works in mysterious ways. Now, again, it brought me to our concept of what or who is God? Because God is not a noun. Let me repeat this. God is not a noun. Rather, God is a verb. Because everything that was in the supreme, and I'm hastening to even use the word God. Nature is alive. Cosmology and ecology is alive. The earth is the embodiment of the Creator. And I'm referring to divine feminine, divine masculine. We swallowed a concept of our colonizers' interpretation of what God is. And this is what I'm saying. The book, everything that they put in this book, they are guilty of all that is there. Now, take, for instance, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal.
You did say quickly. You're called to deal with the remarks that Politics made. You did say quickly. I could have dealt with it quite easily.
The king, well, you know, you took my call and I'm giving my explanation. You said you could have dealt with it. You didn't. I'm going to finish now. The point I'm making, the king, that we need to refrain because your call, you yourself just mentioned our way of communication was by drums and all of that. We had everything in our space, the king. We had our culture, our tradition, we traded, we had our spirituality. And now we have swallowed wholesale our colonizers' concept of what God is. And that is why we're still in this misery. Thank you for hearing me, the king.
You're very welcome. I was going to mention before everything there, one of the great writers that you reference is in your midst up there in London, but people don't really know him. You know the song Die With Dignity by Singer Sandra?
I don't actually. Have to enlighten me.
Keep your honey and keep your money. Die with a big song. That was written by Tobago Crusoe.
Oh, okay.
A big song.
Yeah.
The war will go on. He wrote all the songs. Quickly, caller, you're live on Voices.
Yeah, good morning, the king. Happy anniversary.
Yes, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary. Thank you for that. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm just listening.
Okay.
But don't understand. We don't hear where we're going. We see we know. The flights me reach from here was St. Thomas. I could have gone up to Miami, but I didn't worry because I wanted to come back here. I was living in St. Martin for a couple of years, for a year and a half, 4 years and a half, and I came back here. It's here we know what we're telling about. That is concept about the Africa story, because I won't go in there, and I ain't going to think there, because me go there. The other day, I could tell me and a customer speaking about it here, me. I will let go African things a girl. You're the one name thing, Africa so deadly. People watch you, rob you, because they don't see you as strange and all kind of thing. You see, when you go to the when you see the Africa market and this and TV, you see how crowded it be. Somebody could just snatch me back and gone. You don't believe it.
Bernice, talk about what you know, not what somebody tell you. Talk about the positive, not what you've been fed. That's part of a problem. We take everything negative, spoken about us, and we spread it. What you see is what others want you to see. Okay? Johnny has an opinion. I understand what they're saying. Okay? Right now we're dealing with celebrating our history. We are celebrating our 40th anniversary. Yes, but don't go Africa bashing. We're speaking about things that, as a people,
we come 40 years away, take down the Union Jack, and that is good. But then, we just got to live on with it. Just about, try to see that our country develop.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't going the way we really wanted it to go. But that's all we know. Mr. Thing, he made a talk now,
We're still celebrating.
About culture. But culture, I don't want to go back and say blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. I don't understand what they're saying.
Okay. No problem.
They talk the English and they talk the culture. 2 of them came the other night, was speaking to me. They talk English. Or maybe when they speak to other people, they're going to just talk the culture in there. If we just a patois, French or so, you know that way?
Yeah, another way.
Yeah. So let us enjoy the 40 years of
independence. Celebrate, come the positive, okay? And enjoy the rest of it. Tomorrow is a big celebration. Take part, just celebrate our country's achievements.
Yeah, man. I'm going to go out and enjoy myself. I mean, I'm about Africa. I never see Africa, I'm sure.
Not a problem, okay.
Before I see Africa.
Okay, well, thanks. Having us call? We got 7 minutes before the midday newscast. Let's chat. Let's talk positive. Let's talk.
Wow, let's talk. It's actually quite interesting because to be here in the wonderful islands of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Federation, but to be thinking about the cross-culture in terms of conversations that we have in the UK. And I have to say that the struggle continues and the struggle is real.
It's real, yeah.
And some of that is quite painful in that we say the things that we say. So we settle for because we think, well, let's just be grateful and let's just give gratitude. But actually, that's quite a difficult concept to accept, to just say, well, we've been brought here, this is what we're going to do, we're just going to accept it, and we're really not going to be able to speak positively about from where we came, from who
we don't want to hear
really
anything
are.
About that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there's a U.S. there was a congresswoman in the U.S. some days ago saying if she was in Africa, she'd be praying to a tree. Some guy here some years ago called on this very program. I wasn't hosting then, and said that it's a good thing we're out of Africa. If not, we'll be eating ants. And I couldn't get in to blast him. Because some things are so outrageous.
That's outrageous.
It rocks you to the core. I could not get in. I sat downtown some years after. Is it called? Okay, let's take this caller before. It's called Voices, Your Life.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Happy
Sister Henry. Happy Independence to you too. Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah. Who is your guest?
Her name is Patricia Wharton. She is a very accomplished...
Her name is what?
Pat Blaze Wharton. Who's from St. Kitts? She's Livingston Harris's sister.
She's who?
Livingston Harris's sister.
All right. Also, she's related to Rubilette Bell.
That's my sister. Rubilette Bell is my
That's a
eldest sister.
That's my friend.
That's your friend. Oh, well, I'm going to be seeing my sister soon. So, yes, that is
All right. So
my...
tell her, Mrs. Henry. Sylvie Henry, say hello.
Hello, Mrs. Henry. Lovely to hear your voice.
Yeah, yes. And your sister has a very nice spirit, you know.
Oh, I know. I absolutely love her. She's always in great
spite
spirits.
of being confined to the bed.
Yeah,
if
she's
you
fantastic.
Hear her voice, you wouldn't believe. That's my good radio. My radio friend. I've never met her.
Yeah, I love her. Although she's my big sister, I'm making no apologies that she is a wonderful, wonderful being, and I can't wait to see her.
She is. So you see how radio connect?
Indeed, I do. Indeed, I do.
Now, is there any record? By the way, the people from the Caribbean were invited to the UK because I read articles in the archives.
That's right, yeah.
Yes, they came and they were scouting and inviting people from the British colonies to come to England to rebuild it
100%.
after the Second World War.
After Hitler bombarded the
That's right.
They were invited there.
Mm-hmm.
They were invited.
They were invited. They didn't just go into nowhere. They said, come, and they felt it their duty, you know. And in the truth is, in our colonies, there wasn't much to aspire to. So anywhere would have been better than here.
Yeah, and a lot of young people came from the Caribbean to the UK.
My uncle is now 92, but he's in Dick Grange now. And he said that he was working in the sugar factory.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them said, well, they're going to England. The rest of them said, well, let us go. It's like how they went to Santo Domingo.
Mm-hmm.
The boat come in, you go.
But I guess they thought it was a great opportunity, and for some people it was. I think lots of people left the island with the view to return in 5 years. They thought they'd go to the UK. Some of them were told stories of things like the streets are paved with gold and all kinds of things. But they came to the UK for an opportunity with the view to return.
And they came to rebuild.
And to rebuild, yeah.
Is overlooked.
But many of them never returned.
Well, what you're going to return to Cocaine again? A lot of them. I am from the village area. A lot of the sugar estate workers left. People wonder how will they cope, how will they survive, but they did. Now, is there somewhere people could go to a list of persons who went, because between 1955 and so again, a large crowd. I did some research for a book. I think Mr. Pemberton, the man named now, Mr. Stapleton, I think, correlated it.
Leonard Stapleton.
I did post-emancipation migration and talk about the numbers going to the UK. Now, my husband, when he passed, his father went to England. He was a Riley. And, well, he lived there and he died there. I don't have any more of the brothers alive.
Sister
He had
Henry.
been trying to find his father.
Sister Henry.
Because he learned his father had 11 children up there.
Sister Henry.
Hello?
We've got a minute before the midday newscast.
Yo.
We got a minute before the midday newscast.
Yes. So, she could think about it. Is there a way of anybody tracing their families? Because two of my uncles went, and they never came back.
So there certainly must be some records of everybody that came.
Yeah, it would be nice if somebody, parties or groups in London or whatever, could try and correlate from those who live still.
Okay, maybe what I could do, so coming close to the break, is I could speak to Rubilette and maybe we can have some conversations about how that might be possible. How about that?
All right, then.
Brilliant.
Okay,
Lovely talking to you.
On that note,
love you too.
Thank you very much for the call. On that note, we now pause for the Win FM's midday newscast.
Found the sound 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Caribbean.
Do
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With the Win FM headline news, I am Yulana Weeks. Locally,
SKN government holds groundbreaking ceremony for the smart homes and model structure. Belinda Buchanan announced as first housing beneficiary. St. Kitts Tourism Authority calls for stakeholder awards nominees ahead of the 20th anniversary gala.
The details and more straight ahead.
Ministers of Cabinet, representatives of the National Housing Corporation and the East Coast Housing Development Limited gathered together on Monday, September 18th for the groundbreaking ceremony for the model structures, the start to the smart housing revolution in the Federation. Minister of Housing, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, lauded the work of the team at the National Housing Corporation and the Attorney General Gath Wilkin for working tirelessly to ensure that the housing initiative gets underway.
Many thought that this day would not have arrived, but everything worked in God's timing. It took a while, but I am pleased that all of the due diligence were done. Amidst of all of what social media might have been spreading, God has made it possible on this day, the 18th day of September, that the housing revolution that we promise is here and will be in St. Kitts for a very long time. I am honored to be serving as the minister with responsibility for housing, something that I am passionate about, and we did our work. The chairman of the board, I must commend him and the entire team. They worked morning, night, noon, right around the clock. And I recognize my colleague, brother is here, the Attorney General. He ensured that everything was down to the last dot on the contract that we have signed, so that the housing revolution that we promise will reach the people that is in need of these homes.
Also at the groundbreaking ceremony held in Taylor's, Dr. Hanley explained that a single mother, Belinda Buchanan, will be the first beneficiary of the smart homes.
You might be asking why Belinda? Well, the Buchanans happen to be one of the very first family members to settle in this area in Taylor's. I believe comfortably I can say, when you check the voters list for polling division 2, you have almost 50-something Buchanans listed. So this home is not only a blessing to Belinda and her immediate family, but by extension, the entire Buchanans and Stapletons and all of those in the area. Why I gravitated a lot to her, knowing them personally, and when I recognize a single mother doing a job in a primary school, serving meals, and was able to pay off for her land since 2008, she deserves this home. And Brother Singh, I think it is quite fitting for me to indicate to them that after this house is being built, Belinda would not have to move a thing from her present home. This home is going to be outfitted with 3 beds, living room set, dining room, table, and of course he has said to me, AC units in all 3 bedrooms and the front room. And of course it's coming also with solar panels and water storage.
The smart homes will be constructed by East Coast Housing Development Limited, a company from Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Brian Singh, CEO of the company, expressed gratitude to Prime Minister Terence Drew and Dr. Hanley for their vision in ensuring that more people of the Federation become homeowners.
On behalf of East Coast Housing Development and the National Housing Corporation, we have partnered together with the government, led by the Honorable Prime Minister, to make this happen. We are not just building houses for you all. What we have created, and I want to use Dr. Hanley's word, we are creating homes. Homes for people of the Federation. People, you all might not see, have never seen something like this before, but we are saying we are building this to withstand the test of time. We are giving you something here that you have never realized before. And I'm going to die now. I want to make sure that every individual who applied for a home under this Smart House initiative, this housing revolution, that they realize their dream. And I know with the cabinet led by the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister, this will happen. No two ways about it.
East Coast Housing Development Limited will build 2,400 homes over the next 4 years and partner with China-based Creed Farm Limited to build the smart homes. The housing development is expected to cost about US $227 million. To commemorate its 20th anniversary, the St. Kitts Tourism Authority will be hosting a gala on November 4th, 2023. There, the spotlight will be placed on the unsung heroes who will receive their well-earned recognitions. Ahead of the gala, the general public has been given an opportunity to nominate their tourism stars, along with a detailed description justifying their nominees' impact on the local tourism industry. The Tourism Authority businesses are nominated under the following stakeholder categories: accommodations, event planning and entertainment, food and beverage, destination management companies, attraction and tours, industry partner. Individuals can be nominated under the categories of culture and history, food and beverage, taxi operators, and industry game changers innovation. The deadline for nominations is October 6th, 2023. The St. Kitts Tourism Authority declared, quote, "Let's make this night one to remember, a night where outstanding achievements in the tourism industry take center stage. Together, let's honor those who go above and beyond to shape our travel experiences." End quote.
Regionally,
the Dominican Republic's defense minister visiting the border for the first time since his country ordered it closed to neighboring Haiti. That decision was made to pressure Haitian farmers to stop digging a canal on the Massacre River, which the two countries share. We took the opportunity to ask him about the fairness of the Dominican Republic's demands.
En el lado dominicano hay varios proyectos, ¿no? Como usando el agua del río. ¿Por qué no podemos tener uno? ¿Cuál es la...
Pero ninguno de esos
Sí.
proyectos. But none of those projects diverts the course of the river. This one does, and that's why it violates the treaty.
But the Haitians say they're suffering from drought and have a right to irrigate their farmlands. They continue to dig despite the build-up of Dominican troops on the other side of the border. The Dominican government wants to show off what it's doing, but at the moment that's really all this is, a show. They can't actually do anything to stop the canal, which is on the Haitian side. Government, even if it wanted to. Years of political crisis and violence have left it all but incapacitated. Even most of the capital, Port-au-Prince, is in the hands of gangs. So how, I asked the Dominican Defense Minister, does it expect that same Haitian government to resolve the crisis?
We know that the Haiti government, because of the actions of the gangs, has its hands tied. But the construction of the canal affects the interest of the Dominican Republic. It affects our farmers, and it violates the Treaty of 1929. So it's up to the government to search for a solution. It's in their hands.
Meanwhile, the closed border is affecting not just Haitians who depend on food from the wealthier Dominican Republic, but also traders and exporters on this side. The Dominican Industry and Commerce Minister, also at the border to reassure traders, promised to buy off any perishable food they can't sell. I asked him how long his government could do that for.
The limit of time doesn't depend on us. It depends on Haiti. Now we hope that the talks advance and we continue to reposition our products internally.
Meanwhile, in Haiti, support for the canal is only growing. Perhaps because of Dominican opposition, it's becoming a patriotic endeavour. Flags are fluttering. Busloads of people are arriving to help. Some performing voodoo rituals in support of the workers. Others, like Zephiah Magdali, are bringing food.
We've come to support the canal being built because we are Haitians. We must cooperate among ourselves to give food to those who work at the canal.
The Dominican Republic insists that Haitian businessmen and politicians are behind the project. But however it started, the canal has become very much a popular enterprise, albeit one that could cause economic ruin if the two countries continue their standoff. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Dajabon.
The Vice President Bara Jagdeo has expressed grave disappointment over the Ministry of Natural Resources' decision to engage the ExxonMobil company on audit matters after the Ghana Revenue Authority had already audited the company and presented its findings. The GRA had flagged $214 million in questionable expenses incurred by ExxonMobil for its exploration in the Stabroek block. But the Ministry of Natural Resources Petroleum Unit subsequently broke that cost down to $3 million. But Mr. Jagdeo said that should never have happened.
The ministry directly engaged in a discussion with ExxonMobil on the $214 million after the GRA had said this was the end of the matter. So, as far as I'm concerned, notwithstanding what I said before, that was the ministry's position, I made it clear to them that I'm accepting the GRA's position. The GRA's position, because that was their position, that this matter, because they engaged in a further discussion with Exxon after the GRA had recommended closing the audit, and that should not have happened.
The Vice President said he was advised by the Ministry of Natural Resources that it did not engage ExxonMobil in detail, but that the oil company only sent over some proposals. But Mr. Jagdeo reiterated that should not have happened in the first place.
So my position still stands. I will go with what the GRA has. I said to Stacia, you will deal with it directly, not the ministry any longer. Nothing. I want to make sure that the GRA deals with this matter. I'm very, very disappointed because that was a ministry position when all along we said that we must be guided by the technical people.
Following the Vice President's statements, the Ministry of Natural Resources sought to cover its tracks by issuing a statement of its own, explaining that it has accepted the position by the Vice President that the Ghana Revenue Authority is the competent authority to lead all audit expenses incurred by ExxonMobil. The statement quoted the Minister of Natural Resources, Vikram Bharat, as saying that he stands by the disputed costs flagged by the IHS market in its audit of ExxonMobil's $1.7 billion in expenses incurred for the period 1999 to 2017.
Internationally,
Giorgia Meloni had invited the European Commission president here precisely to see how much pressure Italy's southernmost territory was under. It didn't take long for the Italian Prime Minister also to be confronted with that reality. Meloni was confronted by a Lampedusa resident. He pushed back when she talked about investing more money, insisting instead they needed health, peace and dignity. They have that in common with the thousands of mainly African arrivals this week crammed into the island's reception centre. The two politicians visited a greatly more ordered scene than what was on show just the previous night. The number reduced from 2,500 to 1,500 as transfers to the mainland continued. The European Commission president had prepared a 10-point plan for a response to the crisis.
I want to be very clear. We have an obligation as part of the international community. We have fulfilled it in the past and we will do so today and in the future. But we will decide who comes to the European Union and under what circumstances, and not the smugglers and traffickers.
Along with more help processing and monitoring arrivals and a pledge to ensure legal routes for genuine refugees, von der Leyen spoke of increased EU naval activity, without committing to the kind of blockade Meloni was speaking about as recently as Friday. However, she continued to call for more measures to stop the boats from leaving.
The only way to address the problem, ensuring that the solution for one nation does not mean creating a problem for another nation, is to tackle the external dimension and stop the illegal departures of migrants.
A major part of Giorgia Meloni's message is that this is a European border as well as an Italian one requiring a European solution. But despite Ursula von der Leyen's 10-point plan, much remains unanswered as to exactly what that solution is going to be, whether it will work and whether it will be sufficient for those who voted in Giorgia Meloni as Prime Minister. Back at the reception centre, we asked Abdou from Burkina Faso about the visit and the politicians' distinction between refugees and economic migrants.
We want the international protection because there is no peace in our country. We are here because we don't have an alternative. We crossed the sea to reach Italy, leaving our families behind. Why should we do this if we really had some peace in our country?
On Monday, Giorgia Meloni plans to increase the maximum detention period for those she calls illegal migrants to 18 months, the European maximum. But the motivation, the desperation to reach these shores remains undimmed. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, Lampedusa.
Five American prisoners have left the country after nearly £5 billion actually, in frozen Iranian assets were released. Murad Tabaz, Emad Saragi and Siamak Namatsi were flying to Qatar alongside two others. Now, those two others do not want to be named. The agreement to transfer these prisoners was reached last month after a year of indirect talks. Let's bring in our US correspondent, Mark Stone, who's joining us live from DC. Mark, I know you've been across this story all day. So this plane is now en route, I understand, from Iran to Qatar.
Yes, and I think from an American perspective, this news and this deal can be summed up by just a few words. A senior US administration official said to us a little earlier on, the President, Biden, is making 5 families whole again, and that is what this is all about. They are batting away unease, criticism, stronger language has been used about the deal itself, the $6 billion worth of funds which now become available, limited availability to Iran. They're batting that away and saying, look, we have now got 5 American families complete again as a consequence of a very, very difficult diplomatic dance that has been in the making for years now. It was expected that the deal would come this week. It's come on the first day of the week, but a few weeks ago now, the 5 prisoners were released from the notorious Evin jail in Tehran. They were transferred to a hotel where they have been held since then, and this morning they boarded a Qatar Airways flight, a private flight that took off from an airport in Tehran about an hour or so ago, and will land in Doha in Qatar very soon. And these 3 men and 2 others who have not been named because they want to remain private will be reunited with their families either in Doha or in Washington, D.C. Or the area around that when they are transferred from Qatar to the United States. In return, 5 Iranians have been granted clemency in the United States. 3 of those, we understand, have legal status in America and will in fact remain in the United States. But the other 2 Iranians who've been given clemency are already in Qatar, and I'm sure a plane taking them back to Tehran will take off soon if that flight is not already underway. So a delicate diplomatic negotiation has taken place, and families today very relieved at this news, I'm sure.
Absolutely, looking forward to being reunited. Well, Mark, look, in the last hour or so, we have had footage coming from Tehran of the people there boarding that jet on its way to Qatar. We can see it here now. Murad Tabaz, Emad Saragi and Siamak Namatsi, as well as those 2 others, as you mentioned, who do not want to be named. They are on their way there, as you can see, boarding the plane in Tehran before travelling into Qatar. And Mark, look, it's worth talking, I think, isn't it, now, about why this has come about and what the sort of the agreement was. Not only prisoner swap, but also the releasing of Iranian funds that are being held in South Korea. Take us through that.
Yeah, the Americans are pretty conscious of the criticism, which has come, from the right of politics here in the United States, as well as from elsewhere. This money, $6 billion worth of Iranian funds, oil revenue, that has been held for some years in South Korea. The Americans, the administration is pointing out this is not a ransom. This is not American taxpayers' money that has been paid to Iran. It is Iranian money that now becomes more easily available to the Iranian government. It's not frozen funds. They've been described as frozen funds. The White House is saying, look, that they were never frozen. They were just not easily available to Iran in South Korea. They are now more readily available because they've been transferred to banks in Doha. But an administration official who we were speaking to last night was very clear in his assessment that this money will never actually go back to Iran. It will remain in Doha. And if the Iranians want to use it, they can only use it for humanitarian purposes. First, they say this is for medicine, medical devices, food and agriculture. That is it. So if they want to use it for any of those things, they can apply for the money to be released to the company that makes whatever they want to buy, and then in return they will get that product. So there is a mechanism to prevent it from being used for other nefarious means, and certainly the Americans will hope that that mechanism holds.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
It's 12:29 and we've got your weather coming up, and it's brought to you by Cable and Wireless.
Hurricane season can be unpredictable, but your business doesn't have to be. In the face of adversity, you need a partner that goes above and beyond. Choose the path of resilience and certainty with C&W Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, C&W Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
And today's weather is partly sunny skies in general, with brief cloudy spells and periods of brief localized showers. Tonight's weather, fair to partly cloudy skies with brief cloudy spells and a 60% or moderate chance of brief overnight showers. So we're looking at a high today of 93 degrees Fahrenheit or 34 degrees Celsius. Tonight's low, 73 degrees Fahrenheit or 23 degrees Celsius. That's your weather. Just a few more pointers. The sunset today will be at 6:11 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow 5:59 a.m. Weather brought to you by Cable & Wireless.
Hurricane season can be unpredictable, but your business doesn't have to be. In the face of adversity, you need a partner that goes above and beyond. Choose the path of resilience and certainty with C&W Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, C&W Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Get ready to celebrate in style as St. Kitts Nevis turns 40. And guess what? Edsel Horsfoods is throwing a big independence celebration just for you. For a limited time only, enjoy a whopping 25% off all purchases at your favorite Horsfood stores. That's right, 25% off store-wide on all discardable items at the Building and Nevis Centre, Furniture and Appliances showrooms on both St. Kitts and Nevis, and the Ashley Furniture Home Store. But hurry, this incredible offer is valid only from Thursday, September 14th to Friday, September 15th and Monday, September 18th. Don't miss out. So get ready, get set, and get your 25% off and celebrate this independence with Horsford's Big Independence 40 celebration. This is an independence celebration you just can't miss. See stores for details. Some restrictions apply.
We're locked and loaded, and we're back for the second half of today's presentation of Voices. My name is Socrates, and I want to thank all of viewers and listeners and those who contributed to the first half of the show today. It's the 18th day of September, just about 12:33. That's 27 up to 1 o'clock. We're until 1:30. And we are happy to have with us in the studios today a very celebrated, accomplished lady and her son. They're of Kittitian heritage, but they live in the UK. Well, as she says, I'm African, born Caribbean, live in the UK. Like that. Patricia Wharton in the house. She's known as radio host as Blaze. I call her Super Blaze. I've actually seen her, interacted with her up in the UK. She's an awesome lady who have my respect. I'm happy to have her here with us in the studios at WINNFM 98.9. And the phone lines are open, but I asked her to engage us in a dialogue about the Windrush. Now, Rosemary commented that she's actually enjoying the show, and she was happy that Sister Henry would have chimed in just before. I know she's going to call back. But
Nice.
Take us through, if you wish, the history of the Windrush. What do you call it? Windrush renovation? Let's take us through that.
So I do want to do a quick shout out to Junior Liebert, who's also from the Caribbean. He's also from St. Kitts, and he's tuning in down there in London. He's affectionately known as my stage husband when we do theatre. So big shouts going out to Junior Liebert and to Sandra, if I forgot to say hi to you. Big shouts out to you, to Omawale, my king in the UK. Also, if you managed to tune in, I hope that you are doing well. So thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here on Win FM 98.9. And it's really interesting because I'm on the other side of the chair. Normally I'm sitting where you are, so it's great to be here. So thank you for having me. So we're talking about the Windrush, referred to as the Windrush generation, or some people say Windrush legacy. And in the UK, we're currently celebrating 75 years when HMS Windrush, the ship, arrived at Tilbury Docks. And off of that ship were migrants from various parts of the Caribbean who really built the UK to what it is today after the Second World War. We mentioned earlier there was a call out for people, skilled people, to come from the Caribbean and to rebuild the country, and they've done a really great job of that. And so there's a celebration, but there is some kind of bittersweet in that sentence, because whilst we're celebrating the fact that we were there, people that came over at that time, not just on the ship, before then and after, weren't really treated in the way respectfully that they should have been. And there was lots of controversy with, I think in 2018 or so, it was emerged that the government had not properly recorded the details of the people who were granted permission to stay in the UK. And so some people were wrongly deported.
I remember that.
So, that is the Windrush scandal. So can you imagine that, there's a saying that, you called and we came. So they called for us to go to the UK. We did the work. And then all of a sudden they're kind of saying now, well, actually, you're not a citizen, you're not recorded here properly.
Some people after 50 years.
After 50 years. And they were refusing things like, the NHS service, the very service that we spoke about, that was really built by us as a people, and is also celebrating 75 years. Lots of people were refused free medical care. And it was just an awful, these are really awful taste in the mouth, especially when people first arrived in the UK and were looking for accommodation. Although there were spaces that showed that they had accommodation. Vacancies. They were met with the signs:
denied.
No blacks,
No dogs,
no Irish, no dogs.
Yep.
And that's pretty awful in itself. And so many of the migrants, when they were finding accommodation, it wasn't about if there was a room, it was about if there was space. And so you would find that more than one family would be living in one room. It has also been said that sometimes men would be sharing 3 in a bed, and they didn't know these men until they arrived here in the UK. I'm not in the UK now, I'm in St. Kitts, but until they arrived in the UK. But what they did then was that they slowly brought their family members over, and when they did get their accommodation for themselves, there was a particular room referred to as the Caribbean front room. That's a really important space for me. It's real nostalgia for me when I think about that room, because we weren't able to socialise in mainstream clubs in public. It was difficult for us to socialise. It was difficult for us to get accommodation. There was no doubt that they were experiencing racism. When they were working in the hospitals, some of the patients didn't want the nurses to actually physically touch them. So that was pretty difficult. But what they did is they slowly but surely, and some people referred to the partner, which is a way of giving individuals your money, and you save and collect and through that.
Partner hand, the box.
Yeah, so what do we call it here in St. Kitts? Do we call it the box?
Partner hand.
We call it the partner hand as well.
Some people call it box. According to where you are in the Caribbean, it has a different name.
Yeah, so that lots of people use that method to purchase their own properties. And then they created what we refer to as the Caribbean front room. And that's important to me because that allowed for us to kind of get together as a family. Bond.
Socialize. Yeah.
The Caribbean front room. So the Caribbean front room is a main room in the household where you would socialise. The interesting thing back then was that this room was filled with like your best. It was your fineries. You had your best glasses.
The cabinets and the china.
The cabinet.
We know that, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
So and for some reason it just appeared that all of the front rooms had identical items.
Mm-hmm.
So there was the glass fish. That's one feature. There was the pineapple-shaped ice bucket.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I don't know if I say doilies, would you know what I mean by doilies? Or there was crocheted
yes.
things. I don't know how to explain them, but they would go on the
We
the
go
table.
with those, Jamster.
What do you guys? Well, since we're taking for grandparents, what do you refer to them as? Would it still be? Is it the crochet? If I say crochet, would people understand?
Yes,
I'd be
of course.
Yeah, so crochet, they were starched, and then we had. The thing that I love most, I think, was the gram, the Blue Spot gram, which was where we played vinyl records. Yeah, granted.
You had one.
You had one.
Of course.
And I actually have the pleasure of having one now. I inherited that from my brother-in-law, so thank you really for that. And I have one now in my front room. But it was great because music was the language that we understood. It was the thing that brought us together. Food brought us together. So we had food and we had music. And there was a real proudness around this particular room. And in fact, many children would say they weren't allowed in that room unless you had visitors.
Even here.
Do you have the same here?
Even here in St. Kitts, you can't go in there.
Ah.
That's when you have visitors.
So that's where it came from.
You played outside and you watch the footage, but you don't go in the front room.
You don't go in the front room. Only to clean on a Sunday. We'd go in on a Sunday to clean.
Well, it was all clean. You couldn't mess it up.
Yeah, we had to go and clean and polish all these things. But I think it's a common feature. So now in the UK, when we talk about the Windrush and we talk about the front room, you can just say the word, the Caribbean front room, and that could give you hours of conversations, different stories about that time.
Here is something for you. Tell me a topic that will be discussed in the front room.
I guess they would talk about, they might talk about women, might talk about marriage, they might talk about dominoes, cricket. They talk about cricket.
3 things kept the Caribbean together as a band. Cricket, calypso. Do research.
Yeah.
Pan to some extent, but it gave us an identity. Calypso, cricket, and pan kept us all together. We had something to talk about. And that's when our cricketers made us proud of their West Indies beating England. It was a sense of wow. And so the front room was where we gathered and we talked. And you had the radio in there, and you gathered to listen to this course. So that was a central part of our identifying as one.
I love that. And I love the fact that we've had some conversations on the show today around identity, because identity is a really important thing for me, how I identify as an African, how I identify as a woman, how I identify as a mother, and how I show up culturally. And so what I've decided to do is to ensure that young people, especially like my son, and I've got a grandson who's 4, that they understand the journey that their grandparents, their foreparents.
The fact that you brought your son with you is instructive.
It's so important, because we can lose sight of the struggle. We can lose sight of who we are, how we begun. And so I've now started touring with an installation of the Caribbean front room, so that's travelling around, so that people can come into that space and recreate those conversations, like you said, about cricket and food and boxing and calypso and music.
So you actually now become a griot.
Yes.
Or a historian, traveling around, sharing the experience about the culture.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's great for me to be here, because what I want to do now is to take back some of the rich history of just St. Kitts and Nevis as a place to begin with.
You got a tour coming up on Thursday?
We've got a tour coming up on Thursday. Who is taking us on the tour, and where will we be going? It would be great, actually, for you to probably give us some insight for my listeners that are listening in from the UK about what that tour might consist of. I mean, I've done a tour before, but I don't know if you're able to enlighten the listeners.
What's normally called the island tour. We cover, if you're living from Frigate Bay, we cover, well, me personally, covers the history from Frigate Bay. And then we head down to Bastia, we cover the history, we head down to old areas. There's some former plantations one or two unknown industries. We cover the history of that. Your sons were interested about going to the Kalinago drawings, the Caribbean drawings. We're going to cover those.
Yeah.
And down to what we call black rocks, the lava formations from the last volcanic eruption. The carbon dating is just about 800 years. So we'll cover all those. But there are lots more. And I just might surprise you with a treat.
I can't wait.
Something that's not normally as part of the tour. It's going to be off the main. As a matter of fact, on the 14th of November, that becomes part of the tour of Sandy Point, a new initiative partnered with the Tourism Authority. We'll be celebrating Tourism Week, so that will be a highlight. Going down to Pump Bay. You asked me a question about where the origins of most of the enslaved in the region.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you to a place where 400 enslaved were brought directly from Senegal to Sandy Point. Pump Bay and Sandy Point. We'll go there. Directly from Senegal to Sandy Point. Let's take this call and see what they contribute. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Hi, good afternoon, the King.
Good afternoon. This guy is named Africa. Let me say no more. And welcome to the program.
Lovely.
And good afternoon to your esteemed guest.
Good afternoon to you also.
When I tuned in, I listened to what Socrates said, that you said that you were an African born in the Caribbean, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me just correct you. What I said was I'm of African heritage, whose parents were born in the Caribbean, and I was born in the UK.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It is good that you did not relinquish your African roots, because that is where it all started. And it is refreshing to hear you say that on radio station, on this acclaimed radio station that we listen to, we gravitate to so much. So that others that are listening can be, ignited. The spark within them that is so dormant can be lit. So that they too would able to make that claim. And you are there disclosing the history from the Windwash and maybe further back, but let's say from the Windwash.
Mm-hmm.
I had a group about 3 weeks ago, predominantly Jamaican, and we were talking about how the British authorities and the Brits in general started to look on them with disdain because they had a fundraising mechanism, which we call SUSU, or partner hand.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, instead of they being renting British apartments for a duration of time, lo and behold, they started to buy these buildings as a result of the raising of the partner hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave a little backdrop to that history where it was the women, the Yoruba women at the marketplace, where it all initiated from. And as a result, it was brought over with us, like other things that was brought over with us.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't where you get like incentives in the sense that you put it on a bank and it grow, but it's just that you get a lump sum of money when your turn comes around.
Sure.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit for me? I'm not. I am. I'm eager to hear some more about it because for what you folks have accomplished in the UK and the US and even us in the Caribbean, it is tremendous. And it wasn't nothing happenstance. It's something was innate in us that we had the ability to do these things, to survive. General. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, so that's great. So I refer to myself, especially when I'm in England, as unapologetically African because I'm not apologizing. But what happened with, like you said, some people refer to it as the partner hand. I've heard now the box. That's the first time I've heard that. Some people say susu. But really what it is that one individual would be, for the want of a better word, the banker. Do you want me to continue or do you want me to take that call?
Let's take the call.
Okay, I'll take the call and I'll come back to you.
Yeah. Caller, good day. You're live on Voices.
Yes. Let me turn the radio. Hold on.
Are we ready? Yes, we're ready. There's a no. There's a delay. You're a bit too close to that device. Let's try
I'm trying to turn it off. All right, that's better.
That's better. Go ahead.
Sorry about that to all the listeners. I could irritate the ear. Now, I used to crochet, Crochet is only lately it has gone out. We call them doilies.
That's it, doilies.
Chair back.
Yeah.
Every chair had one, so it makes the chair look good. Now, you didn't mention wagon. You ever hear the word wagon?
I don't know.
A small tray, right?
My grandmother had one.
Yeah.
The cabinet was the one that you close up.
Yeah,
and the one was on the side, called a small tray.
Other countries call it something else, but we used to call it wagon.
Mm-hmm.
It served the same purpose in that you would have your best glasses, your drinking glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Your plate that you never use.
Absolutely.
It was so funny that we had one. We used to joke and say, our mother waiting for the queen to come.
That's what you did?
Yeah, that's what I say, because you're absolutely right. They used to have these plush cabinets with these fantastic
and
glasses.
When Christmas comes, they wash all of them nicely and put them back in the cabinet on the wagon.
Yeah.
Save it for company.
Waiting for the queen. Because we couldn't use them. Got our same enamel plate and stuff like that.
That was a sense of pride.
You have enamel bowl, and if it leaks, you carry it to solder. And you're there watching, it could be irritating. You're watching all of these lovely china plate and whatnot.
That you don't use.
Now with the partner, Hannah, it continues,
Absolutely, it does, yeah.
It continues. You see it on jobs. When I used to work in the planning unit, and there are people in families that do partner hand.
Across the region.
Because they serve as an emergency fund. Or to able to help you to purchase goods of a higher cost than you could afford out of your salary.
That's right.
So when they went to England, some of them saved to bring up their families too. Because when they got their own room, they would send for the wife. But something interesting? I know in my village there were men and women who lived unmarried, common law. And when they went to England, they married. Because it gave them benefits. So while they're down here 40 years living together, soon after you hear the lady named Mrs. Socrates. Do you know the reason? Because there's a reason.
You're paying less taxes.
For certain benefits.
Was it to do with the taxation? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah.
You pay less taxes if you're married.
And it gave them access to some of the
benefits.
Homes too.
Okay.
But what we often don't hear about is the effect it had on the children. Because there was alienation with some of the children. Because sometimes the mother gone away, and sometimes she and the husband or their father, form families. And then they leave the children practically abandoned, if you want to call it so. That is how the child would see it. But they may say that they were waiting until they got a bigger house, a bigger room to accommodate
send for them. Okay.
Yeah, they're referred to as, I don't know if you had the term, they're referred to as the barrel children.
Bitter. So you send for this teenage, 18, whatever, and the parent looking for the child to show some gratitude for what they call sacrifice. And all the child sees it as abandonment. So it affected a lot of the teenagers and older children who went up to England.
Sure.
So. And this thing about our children being slower. ADHD?
No, that's another 2-hour show that we're looking at currently in the UK. And some children were referred to as educationally subnormal, and they were placed in schools.
The children, they didn't have enough time to adjust to the culture.
Absolutely.
And the language, we all spoke dialect. So there was difficulty in communication between the teacher and the children.
Yeah, that's a big thing that's happening now.
The discrimination the children face, that they didn't face here. I mean, you live in St. Kitts. You mix with the white at a certain level. After that, you don't even think about it because your village is everybody black.
You assimilate.
One to white. So you go into a society where the whites may outnumber the blacks.
100%.
They're in better social and economic position. So the poor child is now faced with direct, he never thought about it before. He never looked down on himself. And then you're faced with raw discrimination.
Absolutely, 100%.
So it's interesting, it's very interesting. The lady who owned the Grange, Miss Leader.
Retirement
you know
home.
about her?
Sorry, say that again?
Leader.
Retirement home or hospice.
The retirement home. What, here?
She doesn't even know her.
Residence, yes. You must try and get in contact with her because she spoke about when she went up as a child.
I think when I was here last time. When I was here last time, I visited.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. When I was here last time, I visited the home.
Because she went up as a child.
Okay, so anyway.
All right then.
All right,
okay, thank you.
Somebody sent us a picture of the wagon. Right? That's young Mr. Affiliati. His mom was in charge of the archive.
Okay. So I don't...
The description, that's what we call a wagon.
Yeah, so I don't know that this was something that we had in the UK. So we had similar things. So for those, obviously, that can't see, it's a wooden... It's like a wooden cabinet almost with some drawers and things like that. But this doesn't look familiar to me.
It's about 2 feet high. Roughly.
Yeah, we have similar things, but not quite that. But that does look similar. But some interesting points by the last caller. I mean, topics that I could talk about for 2 hours, and some I have already spoken about, addressed in the UK. Around the difference in culture and things like a very simple thing in the Caribbean, you would use the term pipe, and in the UK, they'd use the term tap. So when they were simply saying to the children from the Caribbean, what's this? They show them a picture, and they would say it's a pipe. They would consider them to be educationally subnormal, but actually, in the Caribbean, it is a pipe, and in the UK, it's a tap.
It's a tap.
But it's exactly the same thing. So many of our children were placed in schools for the educationally subnormal ESN. It was a very terrible story. Now I'm working with a group of people who are talking about the trauma that they experienced as a result of being placed in those schools. And these people are now in their 60s, and they're trying to reclaim for the damage that was done psychologically as a result of placing our children from the Caribbean into those schools. But do you want me to revisit the pardon? I think we're coming to a close of the show, are we, right?
Which part is that?
The pardoner. Somebody wanted me to talk some more about the pardoner.
The partner ham?
Yeah.
Okay, answer this question first. Hygiene. I'm told that West Indians, Khmer people, when they went there first, they were accused of walking obia because they bathed twice a day. Never heard that?
I have, but that's the other thing with the cultural differences, because there, some will say, I'm going into my radio presenter's position now, so I don't get thrown out, but some will say that for our other counterparts, for our UK counterparts, for our Caucasian counterparts, they will probably say things like, well, we could bathe once a week. And so for us going in 2 or 3 times a day, they couldn't quite work out what that is. They couldn't get it.
I have interacted with the persons who actually lived it, being accused of working obia or some kind of would because they bathe twice per day because it's cultural. They bathe once a week.
I don't know. I don't know where that. I mean, how do they arrive at a lot of things?
They didn't understand the culture. They didn't want to understand. We were subhumans, and they ascribe all kinds of stuff. You have a tail, and they were nonsense. We went through all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's that's only even part. That's just part of it. What we went through, what we still went through, which is sometimes when I hear I think about some of the comments that we've heard, it's because the trauma is intergenerational. That trauma goes on. And this might sound a bit off-key to some people, and I don't know, they might even say it's obia. But when I come to St. Kitts and I go to Brimston Hill, there's a particular space in Brimston Hill, I can see it now. Whenever I go there, I am sure that in another time I was in that space. I was in that space. There's this real feeling that comes over me about what it might have been like at a particular time. And I think what I was saying to you about legacy being something that we feel, it isn't just something we hear and understand, because we are traumatized. And you can hear that in some of the conversations that's been said.
I took a lady
today.
there about 2 weeks ago on a visit to Fortress, and she called me next to tell me she could not sleep.
Yeah.
She was haunted all night. This thing was just harassing her and running her.
I mean, I am encouraging people to go, but I'm referred
We're going to go back
to...
there on Thursday.
I am going to. I love it. I will go every time. But I'm referred to as an empath, which means I feel other people's journey.
Yeah,
so that might not, I don't want to kind of put people off. It's absolutely the place to go. But there is a particular experience
Connection.
that I just feel every single time I come here. I've been in that space. It feels like a Sunday, but I know I've been there.
Okay.
So yeah.
Talk to the partner thing before we go back to the phone lines.
So the partner is really it's a verbal agreement between a group of people. One person leads, one person would be referred to, I guess, as the banker. They're the person that receives the cash money.
Equal donation.
Yeah.
You can actually double it.
You
can double your contribution.
Yeah. So, for example, it might say that if there's 10 people in the partner, everybody's going to contribute what they refer to as a hand, and that hand might be £10. We're just simplifying it for the basis of the show. But somebody could throw two hands, so they would throw two lots of £10. And at a period of time, if we just say for argument's sake, if it's at the end of the year, you will have your draw for the money that you've effectively saved over a year. Junior Library was also saying it's because we couldn't get loans back then.
Let me pause there. There is a Junior Library.
There is a Junior
Who's the
Library.
owner and manager of Freedom Radio Station here. So let it be known. It's
That
very
it's not.
popular. You're talking about someone in the UK.
In the UK.
With the same name.
Same name.
So
who you've actually met. You've met him before.
Let it be known that Junior Library here in St. Kitts, just up the road there, who is owner and manager of Freedom Radio Station, is not the one that you're quoting.
It is not the one. Let's get that straight, because I don't want no sussle when I leave here that people saying. So it's not that. This is Junior Library, otherwise known as Patrick. And you've met him, right? You remember he resides in the UK but spends a lot of time here in St. Kitts. But he was also just reminding me that one of the other reasons that the partner was useful was because we couldn't get bank loans and that kind of things. This allowed us to kind of move and shake.
Our own community.
Our community, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be great, actually, if we could still... Actually, it still happens. People still do partner now. It hasn't died out, and one of your callers said that. So to your caller, that's basically how it works. It's a great way of saving. So, for example, if you knew you were wanting to go on holiday in December, you might start the partner in January, and then by the time it's coming for you to either pay for your flight or go, you would call for your hand. And,
Okay. Sometimes this cycle depending on how many persons were in the hand.
Yeah.
But let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good day, you're live on Voices.
Yes, good afternoon. I tuned in late, and you were making reference to a place, I assume, on the island, which creates strange feelings whenever visited. Could you let us know what you're talking about, please?
Oh, we were talking about my visits to Brimstone Hill. Yes, and then whenever I go, I'm left with this sense that, in fact, when I'm there, I'm left with the sense that it's a place that I have been to before, and I don't mean in this time, but it's a place that I've been to before.
Of course. I know what you mean. Thank you so very much.
You are very welcome.
Very esteemed caller and contributor. This here's Ross Robinson.
Cool. Can I send shouts out to Maureen Mosley, who's here on the island? I think this is her first time here. Shouts out to Maureen. And also to my cousin Irene Lawrence, who resides on the island. Big shouts out to her. But Maureen and I met in another island. We met in Ibiza. And then we've been friends on Facebook. And then we bumped into each other here at the airport. So big shouts out to Maureen. And thank you for tuning in.
Okay. After this, we're going to go down Town Jamster and give credit to our sponsors, thanking them for making this all possible.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Riddle this, riddle that. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is again giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars in cashback for free groceries with every hire purchase. Will be given back this coupon season. Happening now. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in cashback coupon to all our hire purchase customers. This coupon season, starting now until December 2023. You get absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase at our Horseman's Furniture and Appliances Appliances stores on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. So riddle this. Where can you get quality furniture and appliances at great prices with a flexible FlexPay plan and with absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase? Riddle that. Cashback at Horseman Furniture and Appliances on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. Riddle this, riddle that. Horseman Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is giving you over $250,000 in cashback and a chance to win free groceries for a year. Riddle that cashback. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Here are your Horseman's Value Mart IGA Independence Special.
Running September 7th to the 20th.
And during the month of September, the more you shop, the more you save.
You get the double points on all grocery, food items and meat, so shop today.
Now, our Value Club Blue Tag Specials. IGA and Essential Everyday Frozen Waffles, $10.99. Lace Stack Chips, $8.99. IGA and Essential Everyday Cereals, $9.99. Essential Everyday Mayonnaise, $17.99. Blue Bunny Ice Cream, $22.99. Nabisco Chips Ahoy, $14.99. And now, our very low weekly
value deals. Essential Everyday Pasta, $4.99. IGN Essential Everyday Peanut Butter Crunchy and Creamy, $8.99. Essential Everyday Barbecue Sauce, $6.49. IGN Essential Everyday Salad Dressing, $10.99. Soft Soap, Liquid and Soap, $4.99. Essential Everyday Apple Juice, $8.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart, and get double points for more rewards today.
Y durante el mes de septiembre va a recibir puntos dobles para más recompensas cuando hace sus compras. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en
Value Mart.
And we're back in today's presentation of Voices. We have some very special folks in the audience. Anybody in the line at the moment? Okay, I'm going to speak to your son for a minute. He looks stuck like he's been working out. He looks very athletic. Let me ask you, what's going on in the lives of young people of your age, your demographic in the UK, in London?
There's a lot going on in London. I'll probably say the good stuff is that
we want to get the good stuff, but that first.
I'll go over all of it, but the good stuff I'll say, the youngsters right now, there's a lot of entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of people obviously that still have normal jobs or whatever, 9 to 5s and that, but there's a lot more youngsters taking up the entrepreneurial route. So whether that might be having your own business, whether that might be having a car wash, making music. And I feel like it's because of social media. The social media over in London at the moment is obviously taking a big storm because I'll probably say, especially in the music industry, since in the radio, and that's what I'm into, a lot of youngsters right now are getting listened to. So they're in the charts.
Getting listened to.
They're getting listened to.
Okay.
So
I'm new to the UK scene. I'm walking down. I'm seeing young black men. What should be my expectation? Okay, you've come from. I know your mom.
Yeah.
I know how she's really, really connected and what she does. So I know you've been to uni, right?
Yeah, I've been to uni, but
okay.
I didn't finish, and I didn't study music. But I've been to uni though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your peers, what are they doing? You say there are a lot of young entrepreneurs.
That's what I'm trying to say. So like a lot of my peers when I was at uni, they might have been like had their own like barber shop, or like if it's girls, they might do like eyelashes, beauty, all that kind of stuff, hair, etc., etc. One of my peers though, because I was studying sports science in uni, he went on to go and do London. So I was studying uni in Nottingham, and I went down to Hertfordshire, which will be like the Midlands, and then a little bit higher up in England.
Okay.
And then he went to go open up a shop in South London. So yeah, that's what I had around from my peers.
Okay, hearing your mom recount some of these stories, how does it impact you? Just raise you above like what she's talking about. What do you think when you hear those stories?
It's funny because I was having a chat yesterday with one of my aunties. He spent some time over
A half what?
A half local.
She's a half local.
Yeah, I'll explain. So she'll spend like 6 months over here and then go back to London for another 6 months. So I was having a good chat, and it was just talking about all the stuff that what would have happened back in the day when she used to live over here, and then what would have happened back in the day when she used to live in London. So I kind of got a contrast of the two. And yeah.
So back in the day, have you? This is just for. Have you been ever exposed to West Indian mom discipline?
Yeah, of course. You know what?
What's your version of it?
You know what? I'll probably say though, I got more discipline from my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But with the mom is a whole different thing. So I want to take your version of it in growing up.
Was I a good child, Mom? I was a good kid. Now the discipline would have just been like, I feel like it would have been a lot more like morals as opposed to discipline. So you kind of just already know what's right from wrong. And then like amongst my peers when I was in school, so primary school growing up and that, we would have all had the same morals anyway. So it's like
the same morals.
The same morals. So
but they came from somewhere.
Yeah, like, but I just mean like in terms of like, my school was predominantly black anyway. So you'd either had Africans or you'd had Caribbeans. So it's just like I'll probably say it was 80% Caribbeans, 20% Africans. So it would have been like, you kind of would have known. Like,
because one of the things that West Indian mom or families traveled with was a sense of discipline. Yeah. And it was reflected in their children, how they grew and how they assimilated in public. Yeah. But they were distinctively West Indians in their mannerisms. Yeah. Because we don't, in your culture, you have what you call timeout. Mm-hmm. In our culture, we have what you call knockout. We knock your ass out. And you wake up next week, 1 hour hit you, say, try it again.
Yeah, mum would have been a bit more lenient on that one.
Because she grew up there. Yeah. She grew up there. She didn't travel from St. Kitts. She didn't go up on the Windrush. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Mum would have been a bit
so she was like second or third generation when it came to that.
I never got that bad. It probably would have came from more my dad though.
Your dad, okay.
Yeah.
Can I say though, that's really interesting to hear about the impact of your parenting. But I was a firm believer of my tone, because our parents used to have this thing, we didn't always get lick, they just give you that look and you better stand up straight or sit down, or remember that they said when you left the house, you say no thank you to anything that anyone asks you've eaten. You say no thank you politely, you don't move, you don't talk. So I think the way in which I raised my children was that I just need to say it, or I need to look at you, and you already know, because we've had that conversation before we've left home. That is exactly how I've raised you. And you, as Kai says, you know the deal. But I love the knockout versus timeout, if I can just say that. As a parenting practitioner, I probably shouldn't really say that, but that was good. I love that knockout, timeout. There ain't no timeout.
No, we don't do the timeout.
Yeah, timeout, knockout.
But as you pointed out, and rightly so, sometimes, most of the time, all it took was that look.
Yeah, you better know.
And that was it.
And that look meant how many different things. It meant sit down, stop talking, take your foot off the chair. What did I say to you? You just had to work out.
You know what, Mum? If I can stop you there, though, yeah. Mum's disciplined, and that was she said that she's a parenting practitioner, so she had to kind of discipline us a little bit different. But my auntie, who's on this trip with us as well, she'll give you a look, but you might get an extra look.
Okay, an extra look?
An extra look, and that look means you better behave yourself, basically, long and short. So she would have been a bit more on the knockout side rather than the timeout.
Because that look was saying, between the look, if you didn't behave, you got to the point where you'd be asking you, what are you crying for?
Yeah.
You get in your house cut, but ask you, what are you crying for?
Yeah.
Or if you want some more.
You already got your warning.
Or they beat you and they said they could give you something to cry for. Well, actually, I think you already done that.
You want something to cry for?
Yeah.
And they say it was abuse. It was a reflection of how we were treated on the plantation. So we projected that on children. And I encounter there's a thin line, and always has been, between discipline and abuse. Knowing the difference made all the difference. And 99% of the children, the offspring who were exposed to that, will tell you today they actually appreciate the benefit of what they went through, because they look at other cultures and see how the kids are, and we're not that way.
So I get it, and people definitely say that. So they say I'm fine. I don't know, some people might not be, but they say they are. They say I'm fine. But the thing is actually the definition really and understanding of discipline, this is me going into my psychologist, psychotherapist hat, is that actually to discipline is to teach. It isn't really to punish. And I think what I would say about why I personally didn't use physical chastisement is because I use the term, if I went to work and I was late, and that's wrong in the eyes of the workplace, I don't expect my boss to cut me a slap. And if I'm, with one of my friends and they do something and I don't like, I'm not going to be cutting them a slap. I'm going to be saying to them, this is what happened, I didn't like it, this is how it made me feel, etc., etc. So people will challenge my own way of some will challenge my way of discipline.
What
but that's
happened here is that when you as a child went out in the public, being unruly or disrespectful, it reflected on your parents. We hear it took a whole village to raise a child. On my tour, I tell people in Sandy Point, you could not, well, out in St. Throughout, from experience in Sandy Point, you could not pass any adult.
Absolutely.
And not say good morning, good afternoon. Or good evening. They smack you. They would smack you. And by the time you got home, your parents who didn't have phones then already know.
Oh, absolutely. That's
back again because you were disrespecting your elders on the street. I'm at a bus station in London and see me young guys there smoking. I'm saying, guys, you can't speak. They say, sorry, uncle, sorry, uncle. You know where they're from?
Africa.
They're from Africa.
Yeah, uncle.
Sorry, uncle, sorry, uncle.
Yeah.
Because that's how we raised. That is why it was so important for the colonized to break up the family unit.
I think no, it depends on the person and who you are. Because you see, for me, I probably wouldn't have reacted well if I did get beats every single day. I think that probably
you didn't get beat every single day.
No. I'm saying me as a person. I don't think I would have reacted well, but I feel like everyone's different though. I don't think I would have reacted well.
We don't beat our children every day. We didn't do that.
Argument's sake though, if I did get beat every single time I did something wrong, as opposed to me being disciplined and spoken to, I feel like.
But
I would have
told you would get the look.
No, yeah, and the look would have been more than enough. But certain times I did have to get disciplined in terms of.
You just get slapped sometimes.
Yeah, but also as well, the look might not have been enough, and sometimes you have to explain what it is. So I feel like parents of. I'll probably say like mum's generation, and then it's kind of like died down a little bit now, going into like the younger generation. I feel like they would have been a bit more harsh on beating their kids. And rather than actually explaining to them what they've done wrong, because they didn't really know what they've done wrong, and they're getting beat. So it's just like same thing you're saying. What you're crying for would have been like
in a lot of situations, but we don't generalize that way because it didn't happen in every household. People took different approaches. My father spoke very, very softly. Sylvester, yes sir, and I know what he meant. End of story. But it was good to hear from your perspective. Going up there in the UK. Knowing your mom, her heritage and how she would have raised you, that was very important. So you thought you'd come here and say nothing?
Come on, that was different. He was raised in Grenada. So.
In Grenada? Yeah. West Indian, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. We go back to the phone lines. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Socrates.
Good afternoon, sir. Good to hear your voice every single time. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon to you, guys.
Good afternoon, sir.
Just tune in.
Okay.
We don't even know their name or whatever it is. As you hear me tired. But Socrates me call because me hear me go a mistake just now, so me just call it for correct you.
No problem. I'm going to echo. Is it from your end of my name? Come again?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yes, I can hear now.
Yeah. You say like when the children them would misbehave when they go home, then we'd, get one audition. They talk nice because parents will be on the phone. You said that just now, right?
Now, what I said, back in the day,
without a phone.
If you were unruly on the street, if you disrespected the elders, they would smack you.
Right.
Go home to your parents. By the time you got home, your parents who did not have telephones back then already found out.
Okay. That's the part.
Okay.
That's the part. Me not here so.
Yeah, man.
That's the part me call for correct. You don't correct the mercy.
Okay.
Telephone. no telephone me back there.
No telephone. Somehow the news got home before
Right.
you.
Yeah, but you tell them that, well, you say born in Grenada, just don't hear that. But you
No,
tell
the
them,
woman say his father's born in Grenada.
yeah. But if you tell them that you know me, that the not enemy with somebody, and you pass that somebody there, you know, no way that somebody they get the courage to come to the enemy if you say that your child passed them and you tell them morning.
Yep.
Right.
You're out of place, out of order.
Yeah. Okay. And let me ask the lady there. I got this system, England is right?
Yes.
I got this system when I beat the children, the children I can go to the police and the police. So, yeah.
Yeah, actually, we do, you know, and that has created a lot of uproar because basically they have this thing called Childline, and if a child feels that they're being beaten or badly treated, they can actually call this telephone number and say that they've been beaten. And then, of course, there's a whole thing around social services. So in the UK, you can't really beat your children. You could have your children taken away from you if you do that through social services.
Okay, but you know, find that they're hypocritical because when the children do anything, when the police bang them.
So, can I just translate for my UK listeners? Bang means to get beaten. That was funny.
That was shot. Well, I haven't heard from him for a long time. Actually got his voice about 2 weeks ago. You always have some very provocative contribution to make, and I just love the guy. But that's the point.
That's funny. The police bang them. That is true, though. You know, the police can do what they like to our children in the UK, and some, you know.
But you can't as a parent.
But we can't. Yeah. So that's created a lot of controversy in the UK. People are saying culturally that's what they do, but literally, if that happens, if your child goes to school in the morning and says to the teacher that the parent beat them or bang, as you would say, you could find that as a parent you get a call to say you're not able to collect your child from school today. And then there's an investigation. Your child could end up in the custody or the care of what we refer to as foster parents, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Back to the phone lines. Caller, you're live on Voices. Go to caller, you're live on Voices. What a missed caller. You're free to try again. But that's interesting, the cultural differences, how we as West Indian would travel out there and maintain those standards in terms of how we raise our children. Let's take this caller. Caller, you're live on Voices. Hello there. Are you there? We got no ringtone again, so we would have lost a caller, perhaps having some difficulties. And we actually winding down. It's 1:22. We got about 8 minutes before the end of play today. And you thought 1 o'clock seat time flies?
Indeed, I did. I thought the show was from 11 until 1. But that's fine. That's all good. We've had a great time. It's been great also that my son Kai has joined me because really he was just coming to keep my company, and he wasn't planning on talking. But I know that he's great at what he does, and so I've loved. This is a first. We've not done a show together before, so I've loved that, and I've loved that we've done it here.
Well, it's only fair.
And a first.
It was your first interviewee or guest on your program, and
Indeed.
he was my first.
Yeah, I love that. So
let's take this caller. Caller 11 Voices.
Oh, Lord.
She was trying to turn it down and she turned it off. Okay, she's going to try again. Yes, it is the 18th of September, and I think all sort of celebratory events are happening leading up to the culmination of tonight at midnight. 40 years ago, that's when we first raised our flag. We saw the lowering of the Union Jack at Warner's Park. There'll be a similar program tonight. Well, not the same lowering, but something of that nature. Celebrating our 40th independence anniversary. That's tomorrow. We have a call. Let's take this caller. Call all your live on Voices.
Yeah, I think I'm one more.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Maybe you can maybe you can round up the song for them. I think of me not too sure. I think of Baron one song with the talking to the West Indian parents.
Baron?
An American, yeah. The West Indian parents also an American.
I'm not familiar with that.
Places.
If I'm not familiar, Jam say you know about a song like that?
Okay, me go give a few lines so you
Let's hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Me not sing. He got one part.
Who's he
One
talking
part
about?
of the song say, tell the West Indian parents if you want to eat off the clothes, you take them to barbecues.
Okay, I know the concept. I don't know the song.
If you want to kneel for one greater, you take them to Grenada.
Oh.
if you want to catch them dizzy, you take them to Haiti.
I see.
Yeah.
I've never heard that, but they're laughing.
Me think of Baron. They sing like you know. So you can all time look up that.
Jams would have to find that.
Right, and to all the listeners. Okay then.
Okay, so thanks, appreciate that. You're gonna find the song. You're gonna find the song.
Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. I got to tell you, I love this. I love it.
Yeah, I have heard of West Indian parents and actually East Indian parents who would have taken their children out of the U.S. really and fix them up. Tell them call the police now. Because they're up there and they're carrying on this and that. 11-year-old Clifton into one to call his mother a fat pig. And she's crying and asking, why you call her mother a fat pig? Oh, she called me name first. What did she call you? She called me lazy. And she can't do anything because if she does, he calls the police, she go in jail. I'm saying down here, you try that, we'll knock out your teeth.
Yeah, it's like it's right. It's kind of like how many teeth do you have left?
How disrespectful to call your mother. That's very painful. And then, and I maintain there's still a thin line between discipline and abuse. Knowing the difference is so very important. Right?
Yeah, and I guess I whilst I am professionally, I'm a parent and practitioner, there's no point in saying to people, don't beat or bang your child unless you're going to give them something else to replace it with. And this doesn't start with trying to now discipline a child that's 11 years old when you haven't really given any before because, that's a lifetime already gone. It's about how do you raise your child from the beginning. And we were instilled with those types or forms of discipline, whether it was physical or not. We knew what time of day it was very quickly and very easily. There wasn't very much confusion. Because if you were confused, the best thing was to do nothing. Because, like you said, you could end up being knocked out. But yeah, to stay safe. But
he's a time-out person, I can tell you.
He's the kind of person. Yeah, Kai will understand that. But I've loved being on the show. It's really great to have the different conversations and to be reminded of some of the conversations that my late parents, would have had with us when we were youngsters, and it allows me to kind of reconnect with my personal journey, and now that which I'm sharing with my son. So thank you so much. I've had a great time here.
What I want to get from your son before he leaves is that look. I want to see you start practicing the look.
The practice?
The look you would give to your children.
I have to take off my glasses for that, bro.
Not a problem. I want to say thanks to all the folks who would have joined us today, those who would have made the contribution, whether by text or by calls, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful program today, especially. I was happy that when I knew you were coming, and was it I who suggested?
Indeed it was. As Kai would say, pattern. Is that what you say, Kai, when you make something happen and work something out? Is that the term?
Yeah, well,
pattern that you create.
You are a very dynamic person.
Thank you very much.
I have a lot of respect for you. I follow you sometime if I can because you're all over the place. Interviewing authors and writers and young budding upcoming personalities. That's very, very good to give them a platform of expression. And you have this energy, this boundless energy that's all about you. And it's very, very good to be able to come home, in a sense, and share your story, experience. You're here for your sister's birthday tomorrow.
It's my niece's birthday.
Your niece's coinciding with our independence celebration, born on the 19th. It's a good time for you to be here.